Okay, we're getting there. The Founders Award. This is awarded to an individual member who has significantly contributed to the success of the VES. I think I can say, without a doubt about it, that Jeff Okun has met that definition to a T. Before we get going and say much more, we've prepared a little video presentation. Hopefully not too embarrassing or anything, but let's go ahead and take a look at that.
What a great honor it is to be involved with the Visual Effects Society, for me personally, and I can speak on behalf of all the board members who give up all their time as volunteers. They don't get paid for this, they do this out of passion, and this whole society has been built out of passion, out of various people's different passions. So it's pretty exciting for me to have served this year as chair, to get to play with all these incredibly intelligent minds. We've tried to define what a visual effect is for years and years and years. The answer is, like many things, we can't define it in words, but we know it when we see it. In times of chaos, opportunity abounds. Look around your blind spot. Try to find different ways to do it. If you keep running into a block, sometimes it's best to put it down and play with it. Just have some fun for a while. Stop being so serious about everything. I didn't get into the business to get an Oscar. I got into the business, to create these amazing images that I didn't even know, the level of collaboration. And there's a certain joy that I get, which is, I guess, why I'm a supervisor, that I love it when people go, well, you can't do that. And most people say that you can't do that because they know, they have experience. Well, if you don't have experience and you don't know what you can't do, you end up doing the impossible.
A man walks down the street, it's a street in a strange world. Maybe it's the third world, maybe it's just first time around. Doesn't speak language, he holds no currency.
We are the people who are, in my mind, we're charged with creating the dream that creates the future. And that's what the society is. We are a group of people to form a trusted community to ensure that we come together and thrive.
He says, amen, hallelujah, if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be on.
You look pretty good in a tux there, Jeff. Before you come up here, again, I'd like to give the podium to another of his longtime colleagues who also happens to be the director of his current project. Please welcome Dean Devlin.
Hey, I won't speak too long. I just wanted to share a couple thoughts. About 22 years ago, the first time I ever produced a movie, and the first time I ever had an effects supervisor, it was Jeff Okun on a film called Stargate. And not only did Jeff teach me technically how to do things I didn't know how to do, but more importantly, Jeff, what you did is you taught me how to think and feel about how to do it, to not be frightened of things, to dare to do what you think you can't do. And that served me well throughout my career. Through some circumstances, we didn't get a chance to work together for a while, but I did name Brent Spiner's character Dr. Okun after the great Jeff Okun. And then, 22 years later, I get to direct my first feature film, and once again, I get to have my first visual effects supervisor as a director be Mr. Okun, and it's been a joy. And you know, while I thought I had learned a lot of things throughout my years about effects, once again working with Jeff, it became all fresh again and new again. And again, his spirit, his passion, his love, the way he simplifies very complex ideas has inspired me once again, and it's been such a joy. And I just wanted to say, you've given a lot to the industry, you've given a lot to me personally, and anyone who's actually played music with Jimi Hendrix is all right in my book. So today is well deserved.
Not yet. Not yet. Sit. One more colleague, someone who's worked very closely with you for a long time. Perish the thought. Eric Roth.
I got to tell you, you know what the best part of this is? Jeff hates this. He has been squirming all day, okay, because he is the total center of attention right now. And let me tell you, Jeff, you need to be the center of attention more often. You deserve it. You've earned it. You know, basically, everyone knows that Jeff is passionate about visual effects and VES. He has put in more time, more sweat equity than anyone I can possibly think of. And so, yes, I've spent a lot of time with him over the years. But the times I really remember, like, occurred earlier today, when the panels were going on, but he and I were in the little corner, just by ourselves, just like whispering. That's what we've been doing for like many years now, is whispering in between things, is trying to suss out what's really going on. And you just need to know that when you talk to Jeff, you say, "How you doing?" "Fantastic." Couldn't be better. And for anyone who knows Jeff, okay, you've got to go about 12 more layers down before you know where he's really at, okay? But if you get a different answer to that question to start off with, okay, let me tell you, you know where Jeff's at that point. I got to tell you, he's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet who doesn't allow himself to see his own humor. But every time I talk with him, he gets me laughing in the first 30 seconds. So he and I, we've got a bit of verbal shorthand. So he's Mr. Passion, he's Mr. Quirky, he's Mr. No Personal Agenda, he's Mr. Community, he's Mr. Global, he's Mr. Strategic, he's Mr. Dedicated, he's Mr. Worthy, he's Mr. Genuine, and above all, he's my friend. Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff has served 8 terms as chair of the VES, and he was the founding chair of the VES Awards. Jeff led our organization with distinction through a critical period of growth and development, and he did so with honor, intelligence, and wit. Jeff is also a respected member of the visual effects branch of the Academy of Motion Pictures, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, and an associate member of the American Society of Cinematographers. I've known Jeff for over 20 years, from when we shared an office back at Apogee. You remember that? But it's through my work with him at the VES that I have truly come to know him. We don't have enough time now for me to tell you all the reasons that I respect and admire Jeff, but I can tell you that it has everything to do with the inspiration and perspiration he continues to give to our society and to our community. Jeff, you can come up here now. Love you, man.
that blows the speech, okay? I am gobsmacked. I couldn't be more excited. And I wrote down on my note, this whole thing's a fraud because it's not, it's what you all gave me. My wife is gesticulating at me right now. Sorry, honey, it's from the heart. I'm humbled, I'm proud, and I got to say that the Visual Effects Society is an organization, obviously, that I believe in more than I can actually put into words. But when I first heard of it, and I promise I won't keep you here too much longer, when I first heard of the society, I wanted to be in it because I wanted to be in a union. I really thought this was going to be a visual effects union. And I begged people to let me into this thing because I wanted to be it. What I can say now, because I'm not on the board or anything, is that all those years ago, I tried to create a visual effects guild. I met with the IATSE, with Tom Short, and gave him 30 great reasons why we should be a guild. And his response to me was, and I quote him, "You want to see the bad side of a lead pipe?" And I figured that meant, okay, we're done talking. But I continued to try to push for this until I met with him a second time, in which he renewed his offer to me. And at that point I figured, and I did get to say to Mr. Short, I don't understand how you're turning down from a union's point of view. This is money for you, this is people, and this is something that maybe not right now, but in the future is going to be important. And what I'm happy to say that I can also reveal now, because I don't hold any office, is, was it 5 years ago? 4 years ago? A short time ago, after Tom Short stepped down, the IATSE contacted me. And they said, we'd like to have a meeting with you. We have a file on you. And so I got Eric, and I said, Eric, this is nothing the VES can be involved in, but I think I'm going to need a witness. And I met with IATSE, and that started their push to try and unionize. There are certain things I'll be happy to talk to you about personally, things about answering the question, how's this going to not further pushing all the work out of Los Angeles that they could never answer, and so on and so forth, but that's a bunch of other things. But the reason that I stand here today, besides all these fantastic honors that I don't feel I deserve, but I accept them because I love free stuff, is I stand here, and you've heard this phrase before, I stand here on the shoulders of people who've come before me. Like I said, I thought I was joining a union. And through the friendship, which was a huge thing when you think about who I was and who these people were, and through their tutoring and mentoring, I got to where I am today. And those people, you know, are Jim Morris, who took me under his wing, Carl Rosendahl, who I consider to this day to be my mentor. I'm proud to say he's my friend. And, you know, even Tom Atkins back then, who dragged me into the awards committee because I wrote him an email that simply said, hey, I have a great idea. What we do is we put out an offer to all the special effects companies, somebody who can do something really big, and they do these tests for us, and the winning offer gets to open the award show. And he sent me back, well, it wasn't an email in those days, he said, and now you're the chair of the awards committee. And that was another process that took a long time to come. But when you think about, just look around, you know, who's in this room, you know? It's like that I can call Jonathan Erlin, who is a founding member, and his lovely wife, Kay, a friend of mine, which I can. Then we've had debates, and Jonathan is, and I can't pronounce the word, so in a classic trademark Jeff Okun minute, I will say the word incorrectly, who is a true academician. Did I get close, Jonathan? That's it. Who has really, you know, tilted my point of view. When you look at Jim Morris, when you look at other people who joined the awards committee after I formed what I had to do, and they tested it for me, people that should go named like Tim McGovern, Kim Lavery, and Chuck Finance, who's sitting right over there. When you begin to interact with people who have passion for what we do, who don't have a personal agenda, all I did was what they said to do. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I stayed up a lot of late nights. Yeah, I fought through a lot of horrific battles over some really weird stuff that will make a book sometime. But it's their spirit that drove me here. And what they got me to understand is that if you want it to happen, then do it. Don't sit around and whine about it, And so we came up with the phrase, step up. So I stepped up. Maybe I was a little overzealous. Maybe I stepped up a little over the bar or whatever it is for all these years, but I learned under Jim Morris. I learned under Jonathan Erlin. I learned under Carl Rosendahl. I saw what they went through, and I knew what I was stepping into. And it's like everybody that got an award up here today, Scott Squires, Richard Hollander. Do you understand that for a little geeky kid, like these gods, that are now my friends, who shared the passion with me, who showed me the magic, that allowed me to go out and be goofy and share the magic in an offhanded way, and allowed me to meet people like Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich and Ed Zwick, and be able to say, we know what we're doing, don't sweat it, we'll find a way, and understand that's the moment you go into the back room and panic quietly, And in every one of these speeches, and I know I'm jumping around a bit here, but it will tie together. You have to thank your family. So I have to thank my family. So Elizabeth and the kids, yeah. But who's my family? You are all the family. Every member of the VES and every member of the visual effects community who may one day be a member of the VES is my family. I care about you all deeply, not because of what you can do for me and make me look good, but because of what you give me in terms of energy. And, in that realm, I got paid $10 today to mention my visual effects producer, Tom Bolin, who's over there. For 17 years in a row, Tom would go into the back room and drag me out and say, just man up and do it, and again, it's like the Groucho Marx thing where, I don't want to be a member of any crowd that would have me as its member because I'm not worthy. And the Sally Fields thing is that you like me, you really like me, which is actually the W.C. Fields thing, but that's another thing. But my message is, besides, and I want to make this last point, besides being humbled and extraordinarily proud to have that you let me listen to you and then reflect back to you what you're calling leadership. But I want to say that I'm quoting, I believe, Jim Morris here, that what is awe-inspiring that makes you want to do this, makes me want to do this, is that it's the depth of creativity, the dedication, the work ethic, the talent, and the purpose that you all bring. And you bring it, in droves. And I hope that I'm reflecting that back to you, and I hope that you'll spread the message out, because the society, as you've heard me say 1,000 times, is only you. It's whatever you make it. So if you want it to be something else, you can make it do that. But step up, make your voice be heard. And finally, there's two finallys. One of the things when we started the awards committee was about, you're free to criticize and shoot down any idea you want. However, you have to offer something in its replacement, even if it's goofy. And I really think that society on a whole, you should take this on, because it's good to knock things down, not endlessly, not over and over and over after the point's been made, but it's good to knock things down. And it's good to offer up something silly, because as Saul Bass taught me, see how I've worked in everybody's name? Saul Bass got me into the industry, and I'll tell you a wacky little story about Saul that will explain me. I was many things to Saul: his gopher, his coffee maker, his pit my prunes guy, and then I was his editor. I was his production manager, his post-production supervisor. I co-wrote. I directed sequences for him. I directed films for him. But this one particular thing was on a Ray Bradbury film called Quest, which was based on his short story Fire and Ice. And we had only 2 takes of something. And we went, Saul only worked in the editing room starting at 5 o'clock in the evening, and he didn't show up to work till noon. And so we would work every night till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I'd drive him home because he didn't drive. So we went in Friday night at 5 o'clock, 2 takes. And between Friday night at 5 o'clock and Monday at 10 a.m. in the morning, we did not leave, and we spent all that time shifting these two takes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until I finally said, Saul, it's two frickin' takes, man. It's either this or it's this. And Saul said, it's not two takes. It's the infinity of the universe. And what we're trying to do here is make it the best that it can be, not just settle for what it is. And he goes, and if you don't get that, then you're never going to be anything. And I've taken that through. And some of you that work for me or have worked for me may think I'm a bit ridiculous. I'm not bad. I'm not a mean guy. But I'm looking for the infinity of the universe. I'm looking for the thing that'll turn it. And sometimes it's the simplest thing. And when you apply that to the Visual Effects Society, look for the infinity of the universe. Sometimes it's the simplest thing that can click a tumbler into place, and this society becomes something that is golden and glowing. And with that, I've gone on too long. I just want to say again, I'm humbled. I thank the society. I thank, oh, I left out part two. I thank Eric Roth, because Eric became a mentor to me in a huge way over the last number of years. Our friendship is amazing. And there's a lot of criticism in our friendship. It's a good back and forth. But I thank you, Eric. I thank the board of directors. I thank the EC. I want to say I think Mike's doing a smashing great job. And I thank the people that have joined the society that have become members, because this is how you make your future. And I thank all of you for being my friends. That's enough. Thanks. Now can we go drink?